Hi everyone, I'm Sandra Ajaps, and today we're going to be talking about participatory action research. This is a type of qualitative research method that educators use. We begin by talking about John right here. John is a researcher who is interested in studying colonized education systems towards understanding how they can be decolonized. So John is interested in the Nigerian context, and his research has revealed that the Nigerian education system is colonized, and he's very brilliant and he has very good intentions. So he has come up with a plan for how Nigeria's education system, like especially the curriculum and the pedagogy, can be decolonized. So John has gone to Nigerian schools and he's meeting Nigerian teachers and presenting his solution to them. Now, from your observation of this situation, what do you think is going on? What are your observations about John's approach? And would you do anything differently as a researcher? You can pause the video here to think about these questions and try to answer them and think about what you would do differently if there's anything you feel John could have done differently. Now, I think something a different approach John could have used for this situation and the scenario is to go to the teachers with questions. Try to meet with the teachers and through a series of meetings while trust is being built, you ask questions, maybe even leading questions based on your knowledge as a researcher about their experiences. You can ask about their curriculum, you can ask about the rules surrounding their practice, and by asking questions and the teachers are responding, providing answers, and you all have a conversation about their experiences, you can then start beginning to see where changes could be made that will be important to them. You could also ask them directly, are there changes you would like to see? And the teachers would likely, come up with the changes that they would like to see. Like in this situation, in this case, in this example, which happened in a study I carried out in Nigeria, the teachers were very forthcoming with lots of changes they wanted to see, which included more indigenous content, local languages, field trips, and all of that. So the rationale behind this strategy, as literature, as the studies have found, is that people are more likely to be involved in implementing the solution to a problem if they have been involved in defining that problem and generating the solution. This is what is known as the participatory action research method, where participants are, they're not, you don't just do research on them, but you do it with them as equal participants. So the researcher doesn't go in as an expert, but goes in with questions and tries to work with the rest of the participants to define problems and create solutions that they would all implement together. The goal is individual empowerment and social transformation. In summary, this is what participatory action is about. It's participation, equal collaboration towards solving very specific problems. There are different tools that researchers use to collect data for a participatory action research study, and the most common is focus group discussions, which involve the several meetings that all participants engage in to discuss the what's to discuss their situation, like the phenomenon being studied, just to discuss their practice, their experiences towards finding ways to improve or transform this phenomenon. Interviews and observations are also used regularly in combination with the focus group discussions, and to a lesser frequency, questionnaires can be used in a past study as well. So when you think of PAR, participatory action research, there are three components, and you have to always remember that it's participation, where participants are empowered through their contributions to the research study, and there's also the research itself, which involves, seeking new knowledge and, documenting the result, the data that is being generated, the knowledge that is being generated. Then there's also action, where solutions are created and implemented towards change. Usually, PAR does not just go on a straight line, like have like a beginning and an end. Even though in the real world that tends to happen a lot because of several constraints or logistic reasons. But normally, the PAR research goes as it runs as a cycle where participants come together to define a problem, they analyze and reflect and come up with a plan to improve the situation. They act on the plan, and so normally many research stops there at the action once the plan has been implemented. But ideally, a PAR study should go on to observe that plan that has been implemented, because what we want is like continuous improvements. So there are several benefits of conducting a participatory action research study. And first of all, it contributes to knowledge generation and immediate action. So you can actually generate knowledge and act upon it. There's also the increase in more participants become more observant, and they develop critical thinking through the process because they are engaging with everyone and analyzing their situation. They have to look inwards and reflect and think critically about their experiences and their situation. PAR also gives stakeholders authority to direct the research process, and in a PAR study in a school, for example, the teachers are the stakeholders. So with PAR, they have the authority to direct the research process towards what they would prefer it to be, kind of like their own agenda, instead of the usual situation where it's the researcher coming in and directing the research process. PAR also addresses real contextual needs, and because these needs are contextualized and the research is focusing on the people who have these needs, then it tends to be more, empowering for the participants. PAR also promotes teamwork and collaboration because a group of people are working together as a team to solve a common problem, and they're collaborating, they're exchanging ideas. There will be frictions, misunderstandings, and it's a learning process. They learn how to overcome the challenges, overcome the individual differences between them, and forge ahead as a team to attain their collective goal. So these are some of the benefits of PAR, and in summary, the benefits of PAR that people usually point to is just that aspect of the research participants being active participants of the research process, so that their needs are the focus of the research, and they direct the research process and create a plan that they implement themselves to change the phenomenon being studied, to improve their lives and their practice. So there are some challenges of conducting PAR. To start with, there are different meanings, like diversity in meanings of power, and it's also used interchangeably with action research and participatory research, but they're different because the action research does not include the participation component. Likewise, the participatory research does not include the action component. So the challenge really is how to have both action and participation at the same time within a research study. There are also execution difficulties in terms of assessing the community, like the participants for the study, and then logistics as well, like time and finance. It could also be challenging for researchers to remain sensitive to participants' agendas all through the study, and to also carefully navigate how to reach consensus for what requires attention and how to go about it. Because when you're dealing with a diverse group of people, there will always be diverse opinions and interests, but there are ways, considering that there is really one thing, uniting all the participants in the study, then the researcher has to be really skillful in kind of helping everyone find that common ground on what to work towards. It could also be challenging to ensure equal participation, that's which requires the researcher relinquishing some of his power. So despite these challenges, PAR can be very rewarding. In 2019, I conducted a PAR with 10 teachers in Nigeria towards decolonizing their environmental education curriculum and pedagogy. So up till now, the teachers are using this decolonization model that we collaboratively designed, and they've been, excitedly sharing it with their colleagues, and they've been reporting that it has really, changed the way they teach, and the students are also loving the methods because this involves, contextualizing the learning because in the textbooks and the curriculum materials, the content is just presented in a very It's presented in a very universal form without any mention to Nigeria and Nigeria's environment. So now they're able to study environmental education, and the decolonization model is helping them to really bring in Nigerian culture and environments into their study, which makes it more interesting and relatable. Yeah. So in conclusion, should all studies employ the PAR method? PAR is employed for specific situations. So the answer would be no. It depends on your research question. So if the research problem really is about, bringing about some change or understanding the shared experiences of a group of people, usually a vulnerable or marginalized group, then yes, PAR would be ideal for such a research. Now we've come to the end of the lecture, and we could just quickly go through some learning checks. So of the following research questions, which one does not lend itself to participatory action research in schools? A, B, C, or D? So you can pause if you need more time to answer the question. And the correct answer is D. Okay. Which is not a characteristic of participatory action research? A, B, C, or D? C. Okay, so thank you very much for participating in this lecture. There are also some suggested activities which you could do. Like right now, you could write out a summary of PAR or something new that you have learned from this lecture. And if you are as excited about the PAR method as I am, you could also conduct a PAR with family, close friends, or classmates. Try to work collaboratively to kind of identify a shared problem that you could solve together to make everyone happier. Thank you very much for participating. Bye.